What is going on, my broskies? My name is Toadskii and I am back again here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And in today's video, we are going to be discussing the brand new raid boss that was just announced, Monster Chopper. Now basically we are going to be going through about the actual raid itself, what you should expect, what the unit you'll actually get at the end actually is and what their effects are, and basically how is the most effective way to beat it. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So the first thing I want to discuss in this video is the actual unit itself and what you should be expecting to receive once you do complete the 24-hour raid boss at 40 stamina version. So this is the first evolution of the great Monster Chopper. So here is the first evolution of Monster Chopper, being Chopper Monster Point. As you can see at level 1, it does have pretty ordinary stats. Its recovery is pretty good at level 1 with 300. However, at level 70, which is its max level, it does go down in its recovery. Its health and attack do get quite powerful though, and its captain effect is as follows: that it reduces your HP by 60%, but boosts 2.5 times attack of strength units in your crew. Now, as you can see, that is quite a costly captain effect. Reducing your HP by 60% is a fair go. You know, 60% is huge. But 2.5 times attack for strength units is pretty powerful if you do have the right units. Obviously, you know, you have your Whitebeards, you have your Gear 3 Luffy's. I can't really see this being a captain too much, especially this form. However, the next form is going to be a lot better. Its special ability, though, damages a single target with a random power, which is a really weird special, but, you know, it's there if you ever wanted it or ever needed to use it. You never know, you might get some, you know, top high damage and, you know, do a whole bunch of damage to a specific unit, but then again, you might also get a little bit of damage. So it's quite random, and it is quite a weird ability. But now let's move on to the evolved version of Chopper Monster Point. So once you get Chopper Monster Point up to level 70, you have the evolution materials, and then you evolve it, you will receive Monster Chopper, this monstrous unit. It's such a good name, Monster Chopper, for it. Its health, 1808 and 851 attack is crazy. However, as you can see, it does get minus recovery, minus 350 at level 1. Now, once you do max it out at level 99, you do get an amazing amount of health and attack. It's one of the strongest units in the game by attack wise, and its recovery goes to minus 900, which is actually quite costly. That could be very bad, especially because if you do run a specific crew, you actually might have minus recovery every time you get a meat orb, so that is something to really take into account. Your captain effect, though, reduces your HP by 60%, similar to the first form. However, instead of 2.5 times attack, you do get 3 times attack of strength units. Now that is absolutely crazy. That is exactly like a Whitebeard. A Whitebeard will increase your whole crew by 3 times. However, this is basically a Whitebeard, but just for strength units, so it is kind of good, and your special ability is the same as the first form, damages a single target with a random power. Now, this is the unit that you are trying to get at the end of this raid boss. You will be getting a Monster Chopper, the first form, obviously, at 40 stamina version. What I really wanted to do now is to break down exactly what will happen once you reach the raid boss, being Monster Chopper, because the fodder units before you reach him, you know, they're just kind of little enemies. You can take them out reasonably easily. However, Monster Chopper does have a set schedule of actually what he does when you reach him. So let's break down exactly what you will be expecting once you reach Monster Chopper. So once you do reach him, he will have a preemptive attack, which is also a special, where he actually locks the bottom 4 units of your crew, which are also known as the non-captains. Now, this is pretty bad, meaning that as soon as you reach him, you're going to have more than half of your team locked out for a one whole turn. It's only one turn, which is that's a good thing to look at. However, it is still, you know, half your team locked out, meaning that the first turn when you reach him, you're not going to be dealing a lot of damage to him whatsoever. Following the turn where you actually get locked out, he will then begin to buff himself up, basically giving himself a strength orb, doubling his attack for the next time he does some damage to you, which is where in number 3, once his cooldown reaches 0, he will then begin to attack you with varying amounts of damage. Now, it's kind of weird how Monster Chopper works in the fact that you can have one turn where he does a little bit of damage to you, and then the next turn he could deal a large chunk of damage to your health. Now, that is just the way Monster Chopper works. It's kind of strange, actually, because it's so weird how at one turn it can be huge, and the next turn it can be a little bit of damage. Then he will cycle through from the 1 to 4. Basically, he will lock your team again, he will power himself up, and then he's going to attack you once more. However, following that one more turn of cycle, he will then begin to not lock your team anymore, and he'll just power up and attack you. And then once he reaches 30% of health, he'll start spamming his special and deal large amounts of damage to your health. So that is basically the patterns of his attack, and knowing this now, you can work around it, organize what specials to use at what time. Especially once he reaches 30% of health, you want to try and burst him down as quick as possible, because that is where he's going to be doing the largest amount of damage to you. So you want to make sure that you can take him down once he reaches about 30% of health. Now that we know all this, let's see what teams I would recommend to you guys on taking your Monster Chopper to get the most successful and the most efficient way of taking out Monster Chopper. Now, if you guys know your attributes well, you would know that because he is a strength unit, you would need to bring your quick teams. Now, obviously, one of the best quick teams is the Jozu lead, where you have the ×2 HP and attack. However, when you have the double Jozu, it actually goes to 4 times HP and attack for all of your quick units. Now, this would be an absolutely amazing team to take on Monster Chopper. Being that you have quick units, you're going to be dealing double the amount of damage anyways, and if you organize your team so you can have a lot of quick orbs, then you can just be dealing a massive amount of damage to Monster Chopper. Now, units you could possibly have would be like your Ace, especially now that you're going to have Killer, who is going to be the next Sugo Fest before this raid boss is actually out. Other units you have are Diamba, Jamble, Sanji as well. He's also a really good quick unit. So there's a various amount of quick units that you can have in your team to basically use this captain effect really usefully and to take out Monster Chopper as quick as possible. Now, another team that's really good for taking on Monster Chopper would be the Double Killer lead, where if you do get his captain effect to work, you can have 12.25 times attack against Monster Chopper. And if you have a lot of quick units on your team with Killer, you can deal a lot of damage to Monster Chopper and take him out very, very quickly. I think that this is probably one of the better teams to take on Chopper. I feel as if this, this team is going to be able to chip down at his health really, really quickly, and then if you have the correct specials, you'd be able to just burst him out as quick as possible once he reaches 30%. So I feel as if this is going to be a really, really strong team to take on Chopper. Now, moving on to one of my favorite teams in One Piece Treasure Cruise, the Double Gear 3 Luffy. Now, with 1 Gear Luffy, it's 3.5 times, and with a double one, it goes to 12.25 times. Obviously, it won't be as strong as Killer, I don't think, because Killer being a quick unit gives you a little bit of a boost of attack. However, Gear 3 Luffy is still an amazing, absolutely amazing captain to have. Especially, you can organize your team really well so that you have a lot of units with a lot of attack stat, and then you can basically punch down Monster Chopper with brute strength and huge attack. So I feel as if that Gear 3 Luffy is probably one of the better teams to use against Chopper. Now let's move on to the last team that I have, which is the double Whitebeard team. Of course, Whitebeard was going to be on here. 9 times attack with a double Whitebeard if you do have his captain effect to work. And if you organize your team with lots of high attacking units, you can have a huge amount of brute strength on your team and basically whack Monster Chopper back down to earth and basically just smack him around and just do what you want with him. And especially with his special, being able to knock down the unit's HP by 30% is really, really strong. Especially if you have the double Whitebeard, you could possibly have a Mihawk as well. So you could have 30%, 30%, 30%, knock him down, and then just burst him from there. You could even do that as well. So absolutely amazing teams, and these are the ones that I would recommend in taking out Monster Chopper in the 24-hour raid boss. Now, I hope you guys did enjoy today's video, and if you guys did, make sure to smack that like button down below, and if you guys want to stay up to date with all of the content that I post on my channel, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise videos, then make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.